Whether you've bought a house before or not, there's something that always seems to come up that is a very tense part of the transaction. And that's what we're going to talk about right now. I'm Lisa Small with the Rich Small team. Rich couldn't be here today. And I want to discuss the home inspection and the report that comes with it. The home inspection contingency period is typically a 10-day period after your contract, your agreement of sale is signed. You have 10 days as the buyer to do your due diligence. So you can have various inspections. Usually it's the home inspection, and most people get a wood destroying insect, which we call the termite inspection, and some people will get the radon inspection, and there's a whole bunch of other inspections that can be done, and also depends on the type of property you're purchasing. So if you're in a property with public sewer, public water, you're not going to have a well inspection or a septic inspection. Let's just go over the implications of having a home inspection from the perspective of a seller. So the buyer comes, they put an offer in and they want to get inspections. And the seller says, sure. And when the buyer gets the inspection, they then have the ability, as per the agreement of sale, to ask the seller to repair any defects that come up in the inspection. The seller then has the choice to negotiate, say yes, they'll do what the buyer wants them to do, or they can say no, I'm not doing anything. Then it goes back to the buyer, and then the buyer decides, well, I'm not satisfied with the response from the seller. Well, maybe will they at least do this because maybe I asked for too much, or maybe they'll give me a reduction in the sale price. The other thing is that is always a good idea is to have a qualified licensed contractor to come in and evaluate what the home inspector says, because we have to understand that the home inspector is not the contractor and is not giving a proposal for work or determining what the defect really is. They may suspect and they can write down what they see, but it will take the contractor to actually go out there and evaluate what's going on to say, yes, this needs to be repaired, this needs to be replaced, or no, this is fine. And usually they'll give you a certification, or they'll do some kind of a write-up to give them peace of mind. So back to the negotiation period. What happens if the buyer and the seller can't come to an agreement? Then there's a termination. The buyer sends the seller, through their agents, a termination letter signed by the buyer, and then they also ask the seller to release the funds that are being held, which is called earnest money deposit. We like to call it EMD because real estate agents love their acronyms, and we have a ton of them. The EMD will get released once the buyer sends the form to the seller signs off on it, so they can request those funds back. So once the forms are signed, the house will go back on the market. So when the house goes back on the market, the home inspection report and any other reports that were done become part of the seller's property disclosure. And what I like to do is state on the multiple listing service for agents that any serious buyers are welcome to see this report, but we're not just going to let it hang out there for anybody to see. And this is actually a good thing, because then the buyer can save some money. They don't have to get those reports all over again if they don't want to. Now, some buyers will prefer to get those inspection reports all over again and pay for them, but they don't have to. If the seller has done some work since the report was done, we would attach that information also, any receipts, any certifications that will go along with that. And then the buyer can see, oh, the seller already made these repairs. Having a house go back on the market because a buyer decides that they don't want the property after the inspections doesn't always necessarily mean the property is a bad property, or that there's, cause for, major concern, like there's structural damage or major issues. So, you have to understand you're not buying a brand new house. And even if you are buying a brand new house, you're still likely to have issues and material defects. And ask anybody who's ever bought a newly constructed property, and they will tell you. And here's one more tip for anybody that's buying a house. Right now, homeowners insurance is extremely high. Car insurance too, but homeowners insurance affects your affordability to buy a house. So there's an option to elect on the agreement of sale. It's a contingency that allows you to get out of the contract. Okay, so there we have it. I hope this was helpful. There's always a lot of tension and a bit of stress surrounding the home inspection contingency period, and then there's a 5-day period afterwards for negotiations. It is a stressful time for a lot of buyers and sellers. Not always, but that is a possibility, and it is natural and normal for that part of the procedure to be a little tense. So hang on there, and if your house has to go back on the market, it's not the end of the world, and it can get worked out. So we hope that you enjoyed this and that this was helpful. And if you have any other questions, please feel free to get in touch with us. And you can email us, you can call us or text us. This is Lisa Small from the Rich Small team at Realty Mark Cityscape. Thanks for watching.